Hello, everybody. How are you? Good evening, everybody. Hello. This evening, we have people on YouTube and on my website. So hello to everybody. Anna Maria, Mariella, Giussi, Maria, Andrea, hello, Chiara, Vivian, Paola, Raffaella, Giampaola, Patrizia, Marilena, Ornella, Rosaria, Nicolina, Gianna, tutte le persone dal mio sito. Hello, Elsa, fantastic. Hello, who do we have on YouTube? Welcome, everybody. Hello, Carlotta, Fulvio, Stefano, Ghislaine, I hope. Hello, Julia, Livia, Gennaro. Hello, Mala. Fantastic. Lots of people. Wonderful. Fantastic. Tonight, we have got a fantastic lesson. Okay, so we are going to wait a couple of minutes for more people to arrive, and then we are going to start. It's going to be good. We have a fantastic guest, a fantastic teacher with us this evening. Hello, Gennaro. Hello, Livia. Hello, Fulvia. Carla, how are you? I'm very well, thank you, Francesco. Hello, Michele. Hello, Anna Maria. Hello, Alida, Laura, Liviana. Hello, Sabrina, Jill, Graziana. Who else do we have? Carlotta, hello. I hope you're well. Good. A great comment here. Hi, Joe. Hi, Michael. It is very important, in my opinion, to do these comparison lessons between two different teachers. You can learn many more things from your comparison. Thank you. I completely agree. I completely agree. It's really important. And with Michael, we have had some fantastic chats recently about teaching and teaching styles. And we thought we have to do a live together. We have to, and it's a pleasure. So in just one moment, I am going to be introducing you. Franco from my website. Hello, I know Michael Anton. Great news. Good. Excellent. Davide, I'm very well. Thank you. Your first live lesson, Katerina. Welcome. Welcome to the live lesson. Right. I think we're ready to start, don't you? I think we're ready to start. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the live. This evening, with me, we have got a fantastic teacher who is the king of Instagram, killing it on Instagram. And it's a pleasure to have him with me this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Michael Anton. How you doing, Michael?
I'm doing great, Joe. How are you doing? Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for coming on. It's absolutely brilliant. Now, if you don't know Michael, he's from Michael and he is from English at the Ready. Okay, why am I saying this? Michael, introduce yourself, please.
Well, buonasera a tutti. Good evening. I speak a bit of Italian too. My name's Michael. I'm from Canada. Maybe you've been to Canada. Maybe you've heard of Canada. And I teach English on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook, pretty much anywhere on the internet. I'm there teaching English. And I've been doing this for about 2 years online now. I absolutely love it. I've taught millions of students around the world, and I'm super excited to be here with Joe to discuss a very, very important topic.
Very important. So, Michael, at the moment, so you're Canadian, but where are you at the moment?
Yes, so I was born in Vancouver. I live in Vancouver in Canada. It's on the West Coast, so quite far away from Italy. But right now I'm doing some traveling through Europe. I love Europe. I actually studied in Austria for 4 years. So that was my first taste of Europe. And I've been coming back to travel, to meet students, and to film content ever since.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Fantastic. Now, I must say, we've got the best student, because on the website, Anna Maria, welcome, Michael, and thank you for this opportunity. Welcome, Michael. Hello. Everybody is saying hello, Michael. They are so pleased to see you, which is fantastic. Okay, so good stuff. Now,
Wonderful.
we have had a couple of chats, haven't we, Michael, the last week or so, and
We have.
we wanted to discuss a topic which we believe is very important, especially this time of year, because for teachers, this is the start of our year. It's not January. For us, the start of the year is September. And there are some things that are so important to understand. Now, the first question we thought about is this here, because we hear, as teachers, we hear students say this or ask this a lot. Is grammar important? And we don't think this is the correct question to ask, do we, Michael?
No, we don't. It's a question that lots of students do ask, as you said, Joe. It's a question that we were joking gets a lot of clicks, but it's actually probably not the best question to ask.
Exactly. So we were talking, and we think the questions you should be asking are these. Why is grammar important? Or how important is grammar? Because
Yes.
the short answer here is grammar important? Well, yes. Because if you have zero grammar, you do not have the ability to create a sentence. However, these questions, why is it important? How important is it? These are the questions we need to talk about, because, Michael, I only teach Italians, and the Italians are fantastic people, as you know. However, when learning English, they have one thing: they are perfectionists. And I'm not surprised. Their food is the best in the world. They want it to be perfect. The coastline, the islands, Italy, one of the best countries in the world, okay? They are perfectionists. Unfortunately, with English, being a perfectionist sometimes doesn't help when we're trying to learn, because we can't be 100% correct all of the time. Would you agree with that, Michael?
I would agree. I would actually say we can probably never be 100% correct. I think striving for perfection is a good thing in a way, but actually it's harming your progress. Now, lots of students, maybe this happens to you as well, Joe, but lots of students tell me that they want to be perfect and they want to speak with perfect grammar. They want to speak with perfect vocabulary, but that actually prevents them from speaking because they're so worried about making a mistake and not speaking perfectly that they're not actually speaking. And then they don't speak. And what happens if you don't speak?
Yeah.
You don't get practice.
Yeah.
And when you don't get practice, you don't improve. So It's like a negative cycle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we talk about perfection, I think it's really important to understand what is perfection, in the sense that the way I speak may be different to the way Michael speaks, may be different to the way our friends speak. However, technically, we're all perfect because we're communicating. So your expectation of what is perfection needs to be real. It needs to be realistic in your expectations. And it's so easy to think, oh no, I made a mistake. I cannot speak English. Okay. It is not true. How many mistakes do I make in Italian? Lots. But I'm communicating. So I think that's probably our first big message, isn't it, Michael?
Yes.
When we're talking?
Yes. And I have a confession to make. I have to admit something. My first language is English, and I have made mistakes in English. So just because my native language is English doesn't mean that everything that comes out of my mouth will be perfect, because
Exactly.
of course not.
Exactly. Yeah,
Of course not. That's not realistic.
Absolutely right. And I think for somebody learning English to understand that even us native speaking English teachers, sometimes we make a mistake or we do not speak exactly how it is written in a grammar book. It happens. Okay. I was talking to Michael last time saying the big difference is in Italy, grammar is studied all the time. Italian grammar in school, studied. Whereas I did not study grammar at all as a subject in school. Nobody told me this is the present perfect. This is the past simple. Nobody told me. It is a different style of. Is that the same in where you went to school,
Yeah.
Michael?
Yeah. I first learned of the past simple when I learned to teach English. So absolutely. It's not something we, as native English speakers, we actually learn.
Exactly. Absolutely. It's a natural learning process. So we just absorb it. Like my children, people who follow me know Eddie and James. They are completely bilingual. They speak Italian, they sound Italian. They speak English, they sound English. But if I said to Eddie, what's the present perfect continuous? I know Eddie's response will be, he doesn't know, because it's a natural learning process. Now, as adults, I'm learning Italian, Michael's learning Italian. As adults, we need a bit more help. Absorbing a language is fantastic, but unfortunately, we are not children anymore. We don't absorb things in the same way. So we do need some help, and learning some grammar is part of that. Would you say, Michael?
I would agree. I would also say it depends on your personal style of learning. I think some
Yes.
people really like that structure of grammar.
Yeah.
Other people find it super boring.
Yeah.
Personally, I love the structure of grammar.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost mathematical.
Yes.
It's something that actually interests me.
Mm-hmm.
But lots of students, when they learn languages, they hate it.
Okay. Yeah.
And they just prefer to immerse themselves in the language.
Yeah.
Which is important. Everybody should do that. But obviously, you do have to have some sort of structure, some sort of foundation.
Yes. Yes.
Grammar is the foundation.
Yeah. I think that's the key. That's a word I always use with my students as well, Michael. The foundation. Once you have the foundation, you can build on top of it. But you need those basic knowledge. Now, maybe you learnt grammar naturally by going to live in England or America. We are not saying you must know the technical term for the past simple, the present. We're not saying that, but we're saying you must have some fundamental knowledge to be able to move forward. Okay, so let's have a look at some of these comments here. So this is Luke Jampy. So there's a friend of mine who's American, and he says, I don't have nothing. And I'm like, shouldn't you say, I have nothing? And he's like, oh, right. There we are. Like in Italian, no, niente, double negative, perfect. Whereas I don't have nothing. Again, it's something you hear some speakers use, like especially in London, I don't have nothing. It's something you hear more commonly. And again, in a grammar book, it's wrong. But these things happen. And that's why we need to be flexible in the way we speak. And I think that's important.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have nothing to my ears. I mean, I've heard it. Obviously, Americans say it sometimes. It sounds wrong to my ears. I mean, it is technically wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think we also need to keep in mind that when we are learning grammar, at least in my opinion, we should always err on the side of caution.
Oh, that's a lovely saying. What err on the? What does that explain? That, Michael? That's
err
a
on the
lovely
side
saying.
of caution.
Yeah.
Basically, it means be cautious. Be a bit more cautious.
Yeah.
Because look, if you're writing the IELTS, do not write I don't know nothing. You will regret it.
Yeah.
Don't write that.
Mm-hmm.
There's no harm. Like nothing's going to go wrong if you use correct grammar.
Yeah.
But some things could go wrong if you don't use correct grammar, especially if you're at school, if you're at work, if you're writing emails. So I do think that if you're given the choice, always err on the side of caution and try to be as correct as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's a good rule to follow in general, because context, Michael said, talking about context is everything. In an IELTS exam or a Cambridge exam, there are certain things they are looking for. But when you're texting a friend, that's completely different. And it's important to understand what you can use when. But like Michael said, correct grammar is correct grammar, and it can always be used. Okay. Obviously, though, Michael, the problem is when people are learning.
Yes.
And
yes.
I don't know if it's correct. Or I don't know it's correct, I'm not going to speak.
Yes. And that's where we talk about mindset, your perfectionism.
Yeah.
Look, if you don't speak with perfect grammar, most people, 99% of people will not judge you.
Exactly.
They know you're learning.
Yeah.
I mean, I can speak a bit of Italian, so parlare anche italiano un po', ma faccio sempre degli errori. But I know probably you won't judge me when I'm learning Italian. And I'm not judging you when you're learning English.
Yeah.
Most native speakers aren't judging you when you're learning.
Exactly.
They're proud of you that you actually got out of your comfort zone and you spoke.
Yeah. So I completely agree. The problem is I hear some people say, oh, I went to London and people weren't very friendly, or I went here. Unfortunately, anywhere you go, there are people who are not patient. But I agree with Michael. I would say 99.9% of people are helpful. They want you to learn, and they are going to help you learn.
Yes.
And they are not judging you. If you make a mistake, it does not matter. But even in an exam, if you're doing the B2 Cambridge, it doesn't mean you have to speak perfectly. As an examiner, We award marks if you try things, even if you make a mistake. It's not a problem. So please don't think you need to speak perfectly. And I must say, Michael, Julia from my on my website, who speaks better English than me, she said, "Great Italian sentence. Congrats."
Thank you, Julia. Grazie mille.
Exactly. I'm just having a look here. Where? Right. Okay. So, Enrico, hi. The problem is also phonetics. It depends on where the people come from. Could you give us a suggestion? Yeah, Michael, if you don't mind, I will start with this one because,
of course, be my guest.
Lots of people, when it comes to sound, they say, do I want an American accent or a British accent? What I would say is, if you are at a level where you are worrying about accents, you are so good, you don't need to be worrying. Because obviously, I'm sure you can hear the difference in accents when Michael talks, when I talk. And often that's just vowel sounds pronounced in slightly different ways.
For sure. For sure. I agree. I would also say there's a difference between having an accent when you speak and having incorrect pronunciation.
Perfect.
There's nothing wrong with having an accent at all.
Absolutely.
I mean, Joe, do you have an accent when you speak Italian?
Of course. Yes, I have an accent. And that's the thing. People, I could speak Italian for the next 50 years. You will always know I am not a native speaker.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely,
there's nothing wrong because it's a part of you.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, when people talk to you in Italy, I'm sure they recognize you're speaking amazing Italian, but you do have maybe a bit of a British accent. They're probably a bit more interested because you're a bit of a novelty, perhaps. So there's a difference between having an accent, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. And incorrect pronunciation.
Yes.
Now, when you do have incorrect pronunciation and that's affecting people's ability to actually understand you, that's something you can improve. That's something you can improve, and it's something you should improve too.
Yeah.
But don't get that confused with actually having an accent.
Yeah.
Which is completely normal. I have an accent. I'm from Canada. Joe has an accent. He's from the UK.
Yeah.
Difference of speech. There's
nothing.
There's no right or wrong accent.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that what you said, it's so important. I always try to push this into my students' heads as well. What you said is exactly right. Do not be embarrassed or worry about your accent. However, like Michael said, there are certain things you can do to improve your pronunciation. And again, these are just guidelines. And I'll give you an example. Like the rolled R, for, and I can't even say British English because English, r is not really used. But in Scotland, with the Scottish accent, r is more common. So even in some English accents, we cannot give definitive answers. We can only guide you. And the way I would teach pronunciation is the way I speak. And I'm sure the way Michael teaches is the way that you speak as well. And I mean, one big difference between North American English and British English is like, for example, the ER at the end of a word. I mean, for us, it's player,
We'd say player.
Exactly. So we've got the do you mind if I try a North American accent, Michael?
Give it a shot. Then I'll try the British version.
Perfect. Player.
Perfect.
Player.
Perfect. Yeah.
Is that all right? Perfect.
Player.
That's another one. Perfect. Perfect.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. Excellent.
Perfect.
Oh, your English. That was too good. but
Perfect.
this is why it's English can be so difficult, because we have so many different things. What would be one thing, Michael, you would suggest to people to avoid when we're pronunciation?
Ooh. Um. That's a good question. Off the top of my head, I would probably say avoid speaking too quickly
Yeah, good.
and avoid sacrificing clarity. It's better to speak more slowly, but more clearly,
Yeah,
than more quickly, but less clearly.
perfect. Speaking quickly does not make you a better English speaker. It's probably the opposite sometimes,
Yeah,
isn't it, Michael?
it is. It is. It is. I naturally speak pretty slowly. I know I have teachers on my team who speak a bit more quickly than I do. It's good to have both.
Yeah.
It's good to have both because, even in Italian, there are Italian speakers who speak at 500 kilometers an hour, but I'm sure there are Italian speakers who speak a bit more slowly as well. So it depends on you as a person.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And another thing that I would say is I'll always remember I arrived in Italy 2008, and I spoke next to nothing. And my father-in-law, who's Italian but bilingual, he would keep saying to me, repeat, repeat, repeat. And when I'm trying to learn the pronunciation of something, I try to mimic somebody who's speaking. Now, that might be through shadowing that I've talked a lot about on the website. And I'm sure you talk about shadowing as well, Michael.
Yeah.
But trying to remove the pronunciation is just literally try to copy like a parrot somebody else who is speaking.
Exactly. I'm reminded of you mentioned parrot. That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Going on a tangent here for a moment. A few years ago, I had a favorite restaurant, and they had a parrot. They kept a parrot there.
Okay.
And every year I'd go to that restaurant. The parrot was still there. Then one year I went there. There was no parrot. And I asked the owners of the restaurant, where's the parrot? And they said that people started teaching the parrot swear words, profanity. So they had to they had to remove the parrot from the restaurant.
No.
Unfortunately.
But that's and I watched as well on later. I was just scrolling on Instagram, like we are all guilty of sometimes, and there was one scene of the police were called to the house because neighbors had said there's a woman screaming, and they came to this house and there was a man outside, and he said, it's my parrot. He brought the parrot out, and his niece, I believe, had been at the house before screaming. The parrot had copied it and sounded exactly the same. So the best thing to do, and when we're copying it, you can do it at whatever level you are. It doesn't matter if you are at the very beginning. You can copy singular words. The more confident you are, you can start short sentences until you move on to full shadowing, which is a very difficult skill. But it's something that's so important. So this is why I always say the most important things for improving your pronunciation are these. They're your ears. Okay, listen. Listen really carefully. Don't read, because unfortunately, I say don't read in the sense that don't look at a word and try to understand the pronunciation, because Italians pronounce
Yeah.
every sound with the same importance. In Britain, we don't. Okay,
And do you know why that is, Joe?
go on.
There's an interesting phenomenon.
Mhm,
In English, like 500, 600 years ago,
mhm.
we pronounce things totally differently.
Oh,
We
yeah.
pronounce them like they were spelt.
Yes. Yeah.
And over time,
Mhm,
the pronunciation changed.
mhm.
Naturally, that happens,
Yeah.
but the spelling stayed the same.
Yes.
So now we have words like knight, Knight,
G-H-T.
Ght,
Yeah.
right? Knight in shining armor.
Yeah.
800 years ago, it was pronounced like knecht,
Yeah.
knecht.
Yeah.
So now you see the K, you're thinking, what's the K doing here?
Yeah.
It's because we haven't updated our spelling.
Yeah.
Other languages have, and
Yeah.
that's why it's easier. But unfortunately, English is just like that.
And the other thing is the English language is very guilty of stealing other words
It's true.
from other countries, and we change the pronunciation so it's easier for us. I mean, all languages are guilty of that now, but English has done that a lot. I'm just going to put this up, Michael. So, a volte ho un blackout totale e ricordo quando è troppo tardi, la persona se n'è già andata. So this is from Emanuela, and for some of Michael's students who don't speak Italian, so she said, sometimes I have a complete blackout and I remember the words, I assume, when it's too late and the people have already gone. Okay, so what do you think about that?
Take it as a learning experience.
Yeah.
At least you remembered the words.
Yeah.
So next time you'll know them.
Yeah, exactly.
I think everything you have to learn from those experiences.
Yes. Yeah.
There's
exactly.
no other way around it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's so important to realize having a conversation is like one of the last levels of learning English. There are so many steps before that in a way. And like Michael said, one of them is, first of all, I understand some words.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I understand more, but I'm not quite quick enough. Okay, next time it will be different. And it's we could say baby steps, and lots of patience is needed. Would you agree with that as well, Michael?
Yes, for sure. For sure. You also have to be easy on yourself.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, if you expect that you are going to be fluent in a language that you started learning 2 months ago, I hate to disappoint you, but it's not going to happen. But if you keep your expectations low, you can only exceed them.
Yeah, exactly.
If you keep them high, then it's going to be very hard to actually meet your goals.
Definitely.
So be easy on yourself.
Yeah. And I often say, sorry to interrupt, Michael, I often say lots of people, I often say, change the way you think. Lots of people say, I'm going to learn English and this is what I want. And they set themselves a target. And sometimes I say, the journey of learning is more important than the end goal, because there's always something else you can learn in a language. Always.
Yeah. Sorry for interrupting. It's a natural human desire. It's not just with language, it's with anything.
Yeah.
I noticed this myself, that I set personal goals and I think, okay, I'm going to be so happy, I'm going to be so satisfied if I reach this goal. And then I reach the goal and I'm thinking, okay, what's the next step?
Yes.
What's next?
Yeah.
So you're never going to be satisfied.
Yeah.
Even if you're at a C2 level.
Yeah.
you're not going to feel that. You're still going to feel like there's something that's out there that you're not reaching.
100%. Well, I come back, my children come home from school sometimes, say a word, and I'm like, sorry, what? So even we're learning new things. But there's one important question here, Michael, that someone's asked. And Luke, again, thank you for your comments. Pronunciation more important than grammar. Italians tend to pronounce the I in Italian way. So sheep becomes ship or six becomes seeks. Here we're changing the word. Now, you're absolutely right, Luke. However, I would say one thing. If we have a context, this is something you shouldn't worry about. It is definitely something you should try to improve with experience. However, if I said, for example, my friend is 6 years old. I said seeks, cercare qualcosa, but anybody would understand, okay, he means 6.
Yeah, of course. It's about context.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even I'm not saying, don't worry about it, it's fine. I'm saying, okay, try to improve, because what you said, Luke, is exactly right. But don't let even your pronunciation stop you from communicating.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. Lots of people, like on the website with the conversation lessons with teachers, some people write to me, oh, I'm not sure if I'm ready. You are ready. You are always ready.
Yeah.
Like Michael said, have expectations. Don't expect to be fluent straight away. Be happy when you make mistakes and learn from it.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing.
We have an idiom in English. You have to dive into the deep end.
Oh, I like that.
Dive into the deep end of the pool.
Yes, exactly.
You have to get wet. You have to get your feet wet.
Yeah. So the basic, like if you walk into a swimming pool in the shallow water, that's easy. That's okay. The deep end, it's a bit scarier, but sometimes we have to do it because that is what pushes us forward.
Joe, have you ever taken an ice cold shower?
Yes. In fact, I did the other day, not through choice, because we ran out of hot water and I almost got out of the shower, but exactly this, I said, no, I have to do this. I need a shower.
But also think about this. What's the worst part of it? Is
it starting?
Exactly. It's actually getting in the shower.
Yeah.
Once you're in the shower, you're fine.
Yeah.
After 30 seconds, you get used to it.
Yeah.
And then you get out of the cold shower.
Yeah.
And you're happy that you did it.
Yes.
You feel like, I accomplished something, right?
Definitely. Absolutely. So it's a great. I know we're diverting somewhat from grammar, but I think these are all important topics. Like Rita has asked, oh my God, è importante essere corretti quando parli in inglese. So is it important to be correct when you speak in English? I think what we're saying is yes and no.
Yes. Yeah. Yes and no.
Yeah. Like, no, it's not. Communicate. However, with experience, try to always improve so you make less and less mistakes.
Yes. So I'll say two things here. First of all, what's the purpose of language? It's communication.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's communication. I can say in Italian, io nome Michael. Not correct, but you know what I'm saying. I'm communicating to you, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing, right? The purpose of language is communication.
Yeah.
The second thing, once you find yourself in a conversation, forget about it. Everything. Forget about grammar. Forget about the textbooks. You're in the conversation. Just immerse yourself in that conversation and just speak. Just speak. Whatever comes out of your mouth is fine.
Yeah.
Try to disconnect that part of your brain that's saying danger, danger, danger.
Yes.
Later, after the conversation, you can analyze it and you can say, okay, what did I do well?
Yeah.
What can I improve?
Yeah.
And then you can work on that.
Yeah.
But when you're in the moment, when you're in that conversation, try to just be present.
Do you know what? I think that is, I could not agree with you more. I think that's such good advice. When you're in the conversation, don't worry. If you make a mistake, you make a mistake. No one cares. Just go for it. But I think I liked the shower analogy, because this is why learning a language is the most difficult thing you will ever do. You will ever study, whether it's English, Italian, it doesn't matter. Learning a language is the most difficult thing. And most people fail because of this shower. They jump in, oh, this is difficult, and they jump back out. You need to have that resilience to stay there, get over the difficulties, and slowly the water warms up. And when the water warms up, you realize, I can do this. I can do this.
Yeah.
It's just, don't listen to anybody who says, learn English in 3 months, learn English in 6 months. Oh, I could kill people like that, Michael.
But what does that mean? What does that mean?
Exactly.
I mean, you can learn English in 3 months, but how much can you learn? It depends on you. It depends on how much time you have. It depends on your goals. Even if somebody says be fluent in a year, what does it mean to be fluent? I think everybody might have a different definition of fluency.
Definitely.
So now I'm starting to rephrase that thought, and I'm framing it more like communicate at a point where I feel confident.
Perfect.
Where I feel like language is not preventing me from expressing my ideas.
And I've just seen this comment from Gennaro, and I think this sums up. We have to understand and make ourselves understood. I think that's the key, isn't it, Michael? To make yourself understood, so other people can understand what you want. Now, sometimes if that's something more complex, then you may need more grammar. If you're happy with just saying hello in a bar and having a coffee, then it's lower. So it depends on you. And that is why we cannot say, yes, grammar is this important, because it depends on why you want the language. So
For sure. And you mentioned that learning a language is the most difficult thing you'll ever do. I think it can definitely be difficult, but maybe not for the reasons that a lot of people think. I think the technical side of language isn't that difficult. I don't think it's that difficult. I think the big difficulty is getting over that mindset problem, that perfectionism problem.
Perfect.
Because we're humans. We're not designed to fly. We're designed to learn languages. So keep that in mind. Like, we're born to learn, to communicate with people.
Absolutely. Absolutely right. And it's the end. I know we had at the very beginning 2 very simple questions that we have taken 40 minutes to answer, but I think the point is that the discussion about this is so important. When you are learning, you must have the correct mindset.
For sure.
And if you can do that, the sky is the limit. And I really think that's right. So enjoy what you do. Enjoy, like I say, if you're not enjoying studying for a while, stop. Do something else. Watch the telly. Learning a language, learning anything should never become a weight, because then you won't learn. And I think you need to enjoy it. Okay.
For sure. And I'll just add one thing. If you feel like you're tired of studying grammar, tables, conjugations, take a break. But you can also incorporate English into that break. Like if you're watching Netflix or you're watching TV, why not watch in English?
Yeah.
With subtitles if you want, or without, depends on you. Yeah. I know, Joe, what do you think about subtitles?
I'm a big subtitle man, but in English. In English. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can incorporate English into your daily life in ways that are actually fun for you as well.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to be an academic subject.
No.
In fact, it shouldn't be an academic subject.
No, absolutely.
Language is part of your life, and you should make it part of your life.
Yeah. You don't need to be academic to speak a language. Absolutely. So I must say, Michael, first of all, thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Thank you for having me. It was such a pleasure.
My pleasure. It's fascinating. Now, for anybody who doesn't know Michael, I'm going to put his details in the description of the video when it's on YouTube. Check out his social media. Fantastic stuff there. Okay. And thank you so much, Michael, once again. I'm sure you'll be seeing us in the future, everybody, because it's important even for us as teachers to get together, to speak, and to learn from each other as well. It's really important. So, Michael, thank you very much indeed. And to everybody on my website and on YouTube, thank you so much. It's been a really interesting chat. I hope you've understood. Okay, this is all going on, be recorded, put on YouTube and on my website. And I hope it has been useful. That's the main thing. So thank you very much, everybody. Michael, do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Grazie mille a tutti. Thank you, Joe, for having me. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you soon, Joe.
Absolutely.
I hope to see everybody else soon in some capacity too. It was a pleasure to be here, and keep up the great work.
Brilliant. Michael, thank you very, very much. Thank you. So there we are, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you all soon. Okay. See you soon. Goodbye.